Pour forth, we beseech you, O Lord, your grace into our hearts, that we, to whom the incarnation of Christ, your Son, was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection, through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, DZRL Batak, DZKI-IRIGA, DYKB Bacolod, DYKC Cebu, DXKS Surigao, DXKO Cagayan de Oro, DXXX Zamboanga, DXKD Dipolo, DXKT Davao, DXDX General Santos. RPN Radio Philippines Network.
RPN Radio Philippines Network. Radyo Ronda. DZKI-IRIGA. Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
CNN Philippines Hour sa RPN-DZKI-IRIGA alas 6 hasta las 7 ng manggi, Lunes hanggang Biyernes. CNN Philippines Hour.
He was a graduating senior, so he missed a lot of the milestones that most seniors will have, like a live graduation and a prom and so many things. Even his exams were not done online. So that was one of the bigger challenges. And then not being able to get together with family as often as we would have liked. Or, you know, our family isn't even so large, but whenever we do get together, until now, we don't do it all together in the same house on the same day. We'll usually have to split it. My family will be there on one night, and then let's say Joe will come on another night with his family, and so we haven't had a large one. That's one of the challenges.
But you're still grateful, right? I mean, in spite of everything that's happened, you know, there are things that still made us happy, no?
Yes, yes, and I'm grateful to see how everyone, regardless of their where they are or where they're coming from, has tried really their best to adapt. And I'm especially grateful for the teachers in my children's schools, because I see that they have tried their hardest to continue to make learning possible for my children, and to make them not so traumatized, I guess, by the fact that we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
Let's ask Tito Joe and Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica the same question. Tito Joe, hi, Merry Christmas to you. Again, like I said, no, tradition, we can't do away with this. We always have to have this every Christmas. So for you, Tito Joe, and your other kids who are joining us via Zoom, what are you grateful for in 2021? What are those big things, big events that happened in your life in the last year?
Well, first of all, Pia, I want to thank you sincerely for having us every year, year after year. And, you know, it's something that we look forward to every year. But to answer your question, the biggest challenge for me is running the business remote control. I have not flown to the south. I have not flown to Negros nor to Iloilo in 2 years. And, you know, I talk to my people on the phone every day, 6 or 7 times a day. And then, of course, as Lisa mentioned, the challenge is getting the family together, because especially Christmas time, because to me, Christmas, the joy of Christmas is doubled when you spend it with your family. And it's tripled when you have your grandchildren with you. And thank God, Mary Ann and I have now been blessed with 8 grandchildren.
8. Okay, Michael, what about you?
Yeah, Pia, of course, COVID took center stage this year as well as last year. So I'm just grateful that our family are still in relatively good health, and we still have a chance although not as often, to get together. So I'm grateful for those special moments. of family
Angelica?
bond.
Angelica?
To say the same thing as Mike, COVID and its associated challenges has been very difficult for everyone. But I am very grateful for the old friendships and family that have managed to help and nurture the relationships and withstand test of time, test of distance, and new friendships that have developed despite the remoteness and isolation that we face today.
I was about to say the same thing, no? Old and new friendships. I mean, especially those you meet online. And I think there's a line you always say, and I say to them, I hope to meet you when this pandemic is over or when things are not as restricted. What about Joe, ikaw? The younger Joe.
Yeah. Pia, yeah, I would say that the biggest challenge is also what they were saying. So safety, keeping our families safe, and the schooling as well for the kids. So we have a daughter who we had to send abroad. So we took her there, and we're in constant communication with her, making sure that she's also practicing, distancing and staying safe as well. Yeah.
Wow. So extra challenging, syempre, no? We're not just... parang there's not just distance here, even if you're in the same country, but when you have family members abroad and sending the kids abroad, no, it's like what? Parang tearing you apart, no, from them. Franco, what about you?
Very similar, Pia. I think the challenge really has been on a daily basis to try to find, to not lose the hope, I guess. In many ways, we still find ways, to laugh. And I think that always livens the spirit. Despite, as my dad said, it has been 2 years. We didn't think we'd get this far. I mean, we didn't think that 2 years. We'd always think that maybe tomorrow will be better. But in many ways, that sort of hopeful mentality, I guess, has sort of kept all of us and sustained all of us, which I think is a good thing. It's both a challenge and I guess a blessing, just to keep that hope.
Mm-hmm. Extra challenging, but still, like you said, no, extra blessing. Syempre, like I was saying earlier, people look forward to your dad's songs, no, Tito Joe. People look forward to your songs, no, every Christmas, and not just in Christmas, no. So, and it was interesting the way you guys were able to, for like Christmas 2020, to do quarantine recordings, right? So, Tito Joe, just tell us a little bit about that. No, how challenging was that, and why did you feel it was so important for you to be able to do that?
Well, as Lisa mentioned, we had to partition our gatherings. For example, one of our traditional the traditional things that we do every Christmas is putting up our Christmas tree. When we all gather, all children and grandchildren, we decorate the Christmas tree with ornaments and decors that belong to each one of them throughout the years. I mean, we've had this same Christmas tree now for many, many years. And so putting up the Christmas tree is like looking at our family tree. But the past 2 Christmases, we have had to divide, like, okay, the first night, Lisa and her family, then the second night, Joe and his family, something like that. So, but it's still meaningful to us. And so it's important to keep that tradition going despite the global challenges.
A Christmas tree and a family tree. We'll be back after this very quick break with Jose Marichan and his children. Be right back.
conquering the universe was the ultimate. But there's more. Dahil tinawag ho ako ng Panginoon for a major purpose. To guide the youth, help communities, and to bring others closer to Him. Kaya I take care of my health through proper diet, exercise, and MX3 capsule. I am ready to serve. Kasi para sa Panginoon, hindi lang ako 4th runner-up. First place ako sa puso niya.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
May pagbabago man sa dekorasyon, sa pangangaroling, at sa simoy ng selebrasyon. Ang maiiwan na damang-dama ay sarap ng Pasko na buong-buo. Sarap na hatid ng Pure Foods Noche Buena. Sarap na dala ng pamilyang bumubuo sa Pasko. Buo ang Pasko sa Paskong Pure Foods.
Pangarap ng bawat Pilipino. Hangarin ng Northern Cement.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pinalaki ng Northern Cement ang kapasidad ng kanilang planta para steady ang supply ng sementong tigasing. Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Uy! Salamat! Nagyaya ka na uli!
Salamat! Sneaker Valley lifted!
Salamat! May bago tayong tropa! Salamat! Tayo ay oy pa! Salamat sa Primera Light ang iyanikman! Primera klase ang Primera Light inuman! Salamat, Spring!
Wala kayo sa tatay ko. Kinuwang libre ang pag-aaral ko sa kolehiyo.
Ang tatay ko, namigay ng libreng irigasyon.
Wala sa tatay ko. Mga tulay, kalsada at infrastruktura. Yun ang pinagawa nun.
Ang tatay ko, sinagot ang ospital at papagamot ko.
Sino yung tatay ko?
Yung tatay ko?
Yung tatay ko?
Ang tatay ko?
Si Tatay Digong?
Si Tatay Digong?
Si Tatay Digong?
Si Tatay Digong?
Siya ang tatay ko.
Mabuhay ang malayang Pilipinas.
The hope is for each and every Filipino to have a comfortable way of life. At on the energy side, lahat ng bawat Pilipino ay may access sa enerhiya na malinis, na affordable, at abot kamay ng bawat isa.
The successful implementation of various initiatives during some of the best and most trying times is a testament to the depth and strength of our relations. We hope to find more avenues for closer collaboration as we transition towards the development and utilization of secure, clean, reliable, and resilient energy.
Times of the year is Christmas. Dahil ito ang oras na nagsasama-sama ang pamilya. May reunion ng barkada. It's a time for giving and receiving. And it's the best time to choose love. To choose what's true. Kasi ito naman talaga yung mahalaga, di ba? Ito yung mga bagay na totoo. Kaya this Christmas, we choose family. We choose friendship. And we always choose love. At kasama ng GSM Blue, let's choose what's true. Ako po si Sue Ramirez and on behalf of my Ginebra San Miguel family, maligayang Pasko po sa inyong lahat.
Time comes around, I become a child again. Something Everything about it just makes me feel young, like a child again. The time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. The first sign of Christmas begins on the first December morn. The reason for the season is baby Jesus being born. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past, and let us renew the ties with friends and make them last. It's great to be a child again at Christmas and all through the year. The time of year when there's magic in the air. Wherever I go, love is streaming everywhere. The people I meet on the street, I wanna greet them with a cheer. Forgive the hurts and disappointments of the past. Have your friends and make them last. Be a child at Christmas and all through the year.
Welcome back to this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition. Jose Marichan, or Tito Joe, to me and to many, and his children, Liza, Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica, are joining us here in this Christmas special. So this question will go first to the Chan siblings, and I want to begin with those who are joining us via Zoom. So that would be Joe, Michael Franco, and Angelica. In the past Christmas episodes, our specials, I would always ask you about what were your Christmases like when you were kids, and you would make kwento about New York, for example, diba? And so many other places. But now my question is, what kind of Christmases do you give your own children?
What we do still is the Advent calendar. So our youngest still gets excited every day to open the door for that day. So, for example, December 15th, what is the surprise lurking behind the door of December 15th? And so it's a countdown until you reach December 24th. So that's true that continued with our kids as well.
Michael, I'm sorry, Franco muna. Franco, what about you?
Well, naturally, I think you do what you know, right? So I think I've unconsciously been replicating the childhood I've had with my dad and my mom for the childhood that I'm sort of giving to my daughter and as my little growing family. I guess that's how traditions are made, no? I guess if I were to say that sort of togetherness, following the theme that Dad said. If togetherness has always been sort of a tradition, whether happy or sad, stupendous, or even simple ones, all of them are special. And I think that is one tradition that that I definitely am imparting, and I want my kid daughter to sort of get used to. No choice. Yeah.
Okay, well, Michael and Angelica pala don't have kids yet.
That's right.
Pero madadagdagan din yan, yung 8 grandkids. So we're going to go to Liza now. Liza, tell us.
Well, when I was growing up, as you know, I grew up in New York, and it was really just our immediate family. And so a big part of my Christmas were the religious traditions. So since my eldest was a young kid, I would bring him with me to Simbang Gabi, Misa de Gallo, and I think my kids still look forward to that excitement of they're tired, but then I wake them up and I say, we have to go. And then I try to involve them also with serving. It's better this Christmas because we're actually able to go to physical mass. Because I think really, I want to stress with my children that that's the most important reason for the season, right? I mean, it's
right.
not about the commercial Christmas, so we still do that.
That's true. Tito Joe, this Christmas, well, kanina you said na nga, no, you'd always have to like divide up the family, no? So Lisa's family first and Joe's for another on other different nights. But this Christmas, what is it going to be like? Will you get together with the kids and the grandkids? Of course, given the pandemic, and then we have this new variant coming in. What are your plans?
Well, you know, I always stress upon my children that, especially because of this pandemic, the realization that the spirit of Christmas is giving and sharing. And so what better way, what better time to live that spirit of Christmas than now, because a lot of our people are suffering, a lot of people are unemployed, underemployed. And so in fact, in one of my songs that we all sang together, there's a portion there that that Franco sang, and I will let him now recite the words to that stanza of "I remember my Christmas when we went around." Frank, why don't you?
Yeah,
do us the honor?
it goes like that. It goes. I remember my Christmas when we went around.
Wait, why are you reciting it? Sing it na. Come on, let's hear that
I
chant
remember
voice.
my Christmas when we went around. My daddy drove us down to some orphans in town. We gave lots of goodies away. Lots of happy faces made our day. We learned that giving and sharing is the real Christmas way.
Wow, giving and sharing, the real Christmas way. We'll have more on this CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Joe Marichan and his children on Newsnight. Stay with us.
Welcome to our world, where we empower our customers to determine their personal path to financial success. Introducing the Bancom Experience Program from Bank of Commerce, an exclusive membership program for a discerning few. Enjoy more personalized banking and access to exclusive benefits that suit your lifestyle, including a safer banking experience with the EMV debit card, higher EMV debit card withdrawal limits. Grow a successful and rewarding financial future with experience from Bank of Commerce. Visit Bank of Commerce online for more details.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Ngayong Pasko, huwag sana nating kalimutang pasalamatan ang mga frontliners na patuloy na nagsasakripisyo.
Ang mga frontliners na 24 oras ang serbisyo.
Alay ng frontliners ang kanilang buhay para sa kapakanan ng sambayan ng Pilipino.
Ang ating mga frontliners, ang mga bagong bayani ng bayan.
Mula sa amin, para sa mga mahal nating frontliners, maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon! Frontliners, kayo ang bida!
When it comes to my family, I make sure to give them only the best. Meals that are healthy, safe, and flavorful. Enjoy home-style goodness with Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados. Pre-marinated, it is made from fresh chicken. It is so easy to prepare and super delicious. Also high in protein, which helps boost our immune system. Get your Magnolia ready-to-cook chicken templados from Magnolia Chicken Stations in chicken tocino flavor and the chicken teriyaki.
Uy! Salamat! Nagyaya ka na uli!
Salamat! Liquor Valley Lifted!
Salamat! May bago tayong tropa! Salamat! Tayo ay buhay pa! Salamat sa Primera Light na iyanikman! Primera klase ang Primera Light inuman!
Salamat, Spring!
May pagbabago man sa dekorasyon, sa pangangaroling, At sa simoy ng selebrasyon, ang maiiwan na damang-dama ay sarap ng Pasko na buong-buo.
Sa Paskong Pure Foods.
Sarap na hatid ng Pure Foods Noche Buena.
Sa Paskong Pure Foods.
Sarap na dala ng pamilyang bumubuo sa Pasko.
Sa Paskong
Buo ang Pasko sa Paskong Pure Foods.
Ang tatay ko, ginawang ligtas, panatag at maayos ang buong bayan.
Wala yan sa tatay ko. Ibinalik ang ganda ng Boracay.
Mas magaling yung tatay ko. Nakamit niya ang kapayapaan sa Mindanao.
Ang tatay ko sinagot ang ospital at papagamot ko.
Sino yung tatay ko?
Ang tatay ko.
Tatay ko.
Ang tatay ko?
Si Tatay Digong.
Si Tatay Digong.
Si Tatay Digong.
Si tatay Digong?
Siya ang tatay ko.
Taas noo nating pagmalaki tayo ay Pilipino.
You'd be surprised that even plants in your own backyard could add some oomph to your cocktail. I have here some fresh rosemary to give a spin on our classic Negroni, or as we'll call it, home garden mix. For this cocktail, you'll need, and for the tools, I'll cut a piece of my rosemary, then I'm going to torch it and trap it into my glass. Set it aside to let it smoke while we mix our drink. Get your mixing glass and combine all of your ingredients. Then we add our ice, and then we'll stir for about 30 seconds. Now we're going to grab our glass and add fresh ice, strain and pour your cocktail. Garnish this with a fresh sprig of rosemary. And there we have our home garden mix made with GSM Premium Gin.
Well, the pandemic has forced us to value what is really important. So the question here is, what gifts are you giving this Christmas? I know earlier you said, Tito Jo, what's really important about Christmas. But can you share with us what gifts are you giving each other, if that's okay? Tito Jo, you first.
Okay, so kids, what are you going to give mommy and daddy this Christmas?
Baliktad. Oo nga naman. Oo nga naman. Sige. No, dapat Michael and Angelica should answer that question first. Sige nga, Michael. What are you going to surprise them with? Clue na lang, clue.
Well, I was just talking to Mike about it. And perhaps just the gift of time and presence.
Oh, that's nice.
Given how many people are suffering everywhere, all over the world, especially many of our countrymen, at least in my case, I will be giving donations to charity or gifts in kind. And again, time spent, especially with those that I haven't seen in very, very long. I think that this pandemic has taught us the importance of being present and there for each other in this time of crisis.
So nicely said. Michael.
Yeah, Pia, there are certain charities and foundations which are very close to the hearts of my dad and my mom. So even more now than ever, during this pandemic, it's important to support these charities and foundations, which will really have a very positive impact on those who are going through a lot of difficulties now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be more meaningful to our parents this time.
I love how your dad redirects the questioning. Tamang-tama eh. So, Franco, can you answer that question?
Yeah, very similar also. I mean, not charities definitely. Maybe a lot of them focus on the children because Christmas really is for the children as well. But I think another factor is that a lot of our religious institutions, many of them, especially our parishes and churches, haven't had masses in a long time, and for many times a lot of the donations there and the alms, they get a lot from just people who attend mass, and since we haven't had that in such a long time, we make sure to remember them. So many times, I think through the example of mom and dad, we would oftentimes give them donations in their name. So I guess the surprise is which donation it will be, which charitable
Which
institution
charity?
it will be
Yeah.
this year.
You guys are so sweet. Joe. The younger Joe, ah?
Yeah, I would say the same also, Pia. A practice among our titas and titos has been recently that in lieu of Christmas gifts, if we could donate to a charity of their choice, of their choosing. And so that has been actually a lot of the gifts that we've been giving this December to the less fortunate.
And Liza, I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, but there's also an added layer here because, like your other brother, one of your kids is abroad, no? So
Yes.
ibang klaseng Christmas to.
Yes, yes. That's my son. Unfortunately, will not be with us this year. He will be the missing member of the family. So
don't cry.
Yeah. Thank God, though, for technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I studied abroad after college, you know, I would be counting my quarters or my, you know, to feed into the pay telephone, right?
Yeah.
But now we're spoiled. And so the other day, yesterday, I spoke with my son and I was saying, well, how are you? And, you know, did you do this? And make sure that you pay for this bill. And then he just mentioned very casually, oh yeah, I spoke with Lolo and Lola. They called me and they call me regularly and they're asking how I am. So at least we feel reassured that we have that, you know,
Yeah.
because it's hard to travel now with the pandemic, right? You have quarantine and then testing, and so it makes it prohibitive to travel
Yeah.
as easily as we used to do before.
Well, thank God for technology, like you said, no? I mean, the very thing that we thought kept us apart before the pandemic is the one that's keeping us together. So thank you for that, especially in pag-Christmas time, no? When it's so important for Filipino families to be together, families all over the world, syempre. Final words na lang from Tito Joe. We'd love to hear from you, your Christmas message.
Well, I really hope and pray that this pandemic will soon be over. You know, so I keep praying to Saint Joseph and to Mother Mary to help us. But anyway, I want to go back to your question. And the first thing that I, you know, want to do is to protect the people working for us, our employees. You know, they're the first that you have to. And then, of course, you also help your parish churches. You know, I'm talking now to the audience. Your parish churches need your help much more than ever. So I want to wish everyone a truly blessed Christmas, complete with God's loving blessings of good health, prosperity, and joy in your hearts. And I really hope, Pia, that this election, we will be able to choose a leader with the help of God, that the leader who will have the vision to lift our country so that our people will have productive and better lives.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jose Marichan or Tito Joe. Thank you very much, and a Merry Christmas to you and to your children, of course, Liza, who's here in the studio, Joe, Michael, Franco, and Angelica. This has been a CNN Philippines Christmas tradition with Jose Marichan and his children here on Newsnight.
Christmas is wearing a smile on its face, setting the world aglow. Christmas is blessing some old lonely place with all the gifts to show. Carols that float in the air day and night, and candles that burn with a warm, friendly light. But more, even more than all the above, I know this is true. Each day of the year can be Christmas if love is the gift from you. When the season comes to an end and the that float in the air day and night, and candles that burn with a warm, friendly light. But more, even more than all the above, I know this is true. Each day of the year can be Christmas if love is the gift from you. When the season comes to an end and the New Year's just round the bend, though they'll take down the tree as always, and the bright trimming of the hallways, Christmas can linger the whole year through. It's you that can make this true. Let love be a gift from you.
The onset of the cold. The onset of the cold burr months and the long preparation leading to Christmas is something we all look forward to. However, it also comes with some illnesses that are common this time of year, and allergic rhinitis is one of them. It's an allergy-related inflammation of your nasal passages, your throat, and sometimes even your eyes. And while it's not contagious, sneezing due to the allergic reactions and immune responses can spread germs and put other people at risk of other diseases. Today, we'll learn more about the symptoms of allergic rhinitis, how to spot them, and what to do with regards to treatment as well as prevention. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We're here to build a healthier future for you. Now, allergic rhinitis is triggered by allergens, and allergens can be found in so many things: pollen, mold, cockroaches, insects, particles or flakes from skin from certain animals. That's why it's very important for any individual to understand what causes this, what triggers this condition. Now let's welcome our guests. Joining us is Dr. Maria Lourdes Enicilla. She's an ENT head and neck surgeon from Medical Center Taguig and St. Luke's Medical Center. Also with us is Dr. Fatima Joanna Santos Ocampo. She's a pediatric and adult allergist from the Asian Hospital and Medical Center. Now, for those with allergic rhinitis, the symptoms may be similar to other allergic reactions. I'll start first with Dr. Mari. Can we discuss what some of the common symptoms of someone who has allergic rhinitis are?
So with allergic rhinitis, rhinitis meaning nasal symptoms. So the usual nasal symptoms would be sneezing, and it's usually violent, like sunod-sunod na pagbahing. So several sneezes, one after the other. And you usually have watery nasal discharge, so yung matubig na sipon, di siya malapot, di siya makulay, it's usually very clear, and then nasal blockage. And sometimes the nose is very itchy, even the eyes. And for children, sometimes they cough also. And very classic with this, if you're talking about allergic rhinitis, is there's no fever.
Whenever they find these types of symptoms, what should they think about, Dr. Mari? Should they start thinking first that this is a viral type of illness, or is it more common that this could be an allergic type of reaction?
Well, for most of the patients with allergic rhinitis, you might have noticed already happening even when you were very young. So you sort of recognize it already. And again, if there's no fever or you feeling na magkakasakit, like your body pains, joint pains, then you would think more it's allergic rhinitis. And again, if there's a pattern, and then it will just go away. But if it's the symptoms are lasting the whole day, several days, and the mucus is becoming thick, and you feel bad, or there's fever, then it might already be like a viral cold, or even a bacterial nasal problem. So then you might need to consult your doctor.
When it comes to other related factors that could increase the chance of someone having allergic rhinitis, what could some of the more common things be, Dr. Mari?
If your parents, you have relatives, your siblings also have allergic rhinitis, you're more at risk for this. But it's also environmental that they found over the years. There's also what we call a hygiene hypothesis. So they found that those who actually were exposed to a lot of different infections, were playing outside when they were kids, they tended to have a better immune condition, and they did not have the allergic rhinitis. They did not develop it, unlike those who weren't really exposed during childhood. So that's what. And also your exposure to pollution, diesel fumes. They found that this can actually make you develop allergic rhinitis. So that's also a factor.
Now, Dr. Fatima, when it comes to this, yung environment natin, air pollution is increasing, the smoke is increasing from vehicles, lalo na dito sa Metro Manila. Are these surefire triggers, especially for someone who has allergic rhinitis?
Actually, it's a global thing. No, it's this pollution that's over the years, coming from fossil fuels and all that, has actually created, of course, what we all know is climate change. And what does it mean? Actually, that means that there is a real elevation. One of the things that's concerning is that the temperature, the environmental temperature has actually increased. No? These are irritants. They're not really allergens, but they're irritants. They really affect the functioning of our airway. They make them very responsive, yung umiipit, ganyan, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng asthma attacks, no? And the same thing happens in the upper airway. It affects the lining of the upper airways, masyadong nai-irritate. Kaya, yes, you'll have more of the sneezing, the runny nose, at saka yung congestion.
Now, I'd like to ask Dr. Mari, right now, papunta na tayo sa Burr months. Marami tayong mga changes in temperature, changes in weather. I'm sure a lot of our viewers do feel some of the symptoms coming from that. Nasal congestion, some irritation. Is this allergic rhinitis? How can we explain this better to our viewers?
So at this time of the year, with more moisture in the air, you can have more of the mold, more of the dust mites, and with wind, air current, sometimes the pollen, there's more pollen coming down or going around you. So yes, most patients will have more severe symptoms this time of year.
Now, Dr. Joni, what are some of the complications naman that can arise with allergic rhinitis that isn't identified or isn't managed effectively?
People with allergic rhinitis tend have more chances also to have asthma, by the way, allergic asthma. So I hope people would realize na if your allergic rhinitis is not controlled, it can actually trigger your asthma. So when you have asthma, you have to bear in mind na baka meron akong allergic rhinitis na hindi na-address.
Okay.
So that's very important. Ha? And then also other things, for example, yung pagkakaroon ng sinusitis, no? This is an inflammation of the lining of the sinuses, no? Dito sa loob ng upper airway, sa kaloob-looban. So you can have that. And that could really be very bad, more severe yung mga symptoms mo. And you can also have parang bacteria added to it. So you can have an infectious rhinitis, sinusitis tuloy, no?
Meron bang certain levels ang allergic rhinitis when it comes to its severity? Meaning, are there people who have allergic rhinitis pero tinitiis lang nila kasi nakakayanan naman nila? What can you say about people who are not getting treatment even in the mild forms?
You can have complications pag pinabayaan. So how do you know if you need to see a doctor? I usually say if you're having your symptoms every day or almost every day, like 4 times a week, and it's every week, and it lasts more than 1 hour. Now, half the morning or even the whole day, and you can't even go out without you having a handkerchief or your tissue paper, and you can't play sports, you can't sleep well. So even though natitiis nyo po yun, kung ganun yung effect sa inyo, then it's something that needs to be controlled, and you have to see a doctor to avoid the complications.
Up next, we'll talk more about the causes of allergic rhinitis and how you can control or prevent them. We're your connection to healthcare. You're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. External factors can cause your allergies, and these allergens or irritants can vary from pollution to dust to pollen, among other things. Now we'll go more in depth with the allergens that can be found inside your home and how you can control and prevent any symptoms of allergic rhinitis. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We're together in health. Now, some plants make a fine particle called pollen that's light enough to travel through the air, and this is how these plants grow and reproduce. But inhaling this can be a trigger to an allergic reaction, especially in a tropical country like ours, where plant life is very abundant, even indoors. Now, Dr. Joni, how can pollen, specific pollen, actually be a trigger for allergic rhinitis?
Pollens come from plants, any weeds or grasses, mga trees, no? But they differ in character, in size, no? So in general, what we think of as allergenic are the ones that are very light, very tiny, no? Such that they can float. They can be carried by the wind, actually up to 400 miles, no? Depende sa wind, no? And of course, they can also enter our system better. So nakakapasok, nalalanghap mo siya. So those are usually the pollens that are responsible for allergies.
Dr. Mari, can you give us some tips on how to keep our homes pollen-free, or for that matter, if I have a pollen allergy, what is the best thing for me to do?
If you've noticed that with your indoor plants, you're having more attacks, so maybe you need to change the plants that you have. Again, not every plant is allergenic. It's usually the ones that shed, a very small seeds or light flowering plants. Actually, we've seen less allergy for a lot of patients because they've been staying indoors, and when they go outdoors, they wear a mask. So that's actually one protection if you're particularly allergic to pollen, especially when it's very windy or there's thunderstorms, high wind rates. You would expect more pollen in the air. So actually using our masks have protected us.
Dr. Mari, when it comes to this, dust mites, these are very small bugs in someone's house. It can't be seen by the naked eye, but it can cause an allergic reaction for people. Is there anything that you could suggest for our viewers to potentially identify if they do have a dust mite allergy? Are there specific symptoms that they could watch out for, certain scenarios?
Dust mites are your most common allergens, and very classic upon waking. When you wake up, you haven't even stood up, you haven't gone anywhere, you're sneezing, you have runny nose, you have nasal blockage. Most likely you're allergic to dust mites because the dust mites are in your mattress and pillows. And if you live in the Philippines, most likely you have dust mites in your mattress and pillows. That's accepted because they like the humid environment. So if you want to protect yourself from dust mites, there are dust mite covers. But remember, again, there's a limitation to their efficacy. Over time, it's not as effective, so you might need to change. And then they are killed by heat. So you just need to wash your beddings in warm water regularly. But even the mattress and pillows, ideally you expose them to direct sunlight or heat so that you can also kill the dust mites that are there.
Dr. Joni, can I ask you naman, meron bang difference ang dust mites and bed bugs? Because a lot of our viewers might confuse the two.
Bed bugs are larger than dust mites, no? Bed bugs you can actually see, no, easily. And dust mites are microscopic. For you to really see them, you really need a microscope, no, to see this creatures. They really like to go where the people lie down, we sleep, no? Similarly, the bed bugs also would like to go there. But then the bed bugs also would like to stay in your mga damit, yung mga seams ng mga folds sa mga damit, no? Yung mga ganyan sa materials. Then you can maybe see them. The bed bugs will not cause allergic rhinitis. However, there are people who can be sensitive to bed bugs, mind you, ha? Pero sa kagat nila, no? Tsaka it's the skin, no? So you would see a pattern of rash na pwede mo sabihin, ay, yan, bed bug yan.
Dr. Mari, let's talk about molds. A lot of people may discount this, don't really think about this as something really dangerous, but they can lead to some really serious complications with someone's body.
We're very lucky in the Philippines. We have a lot of mold and dust mites. So they love the humid environment that we have. So we have to find ways also to limit our exposure to the mold because they really cause a lot of allergies. You have to remove any damp areas in your bathroom. You clean, you wipe down. Make sure there's the curtains, they tend to develop mold, damp clothes inside the closet. So you have to minimize these damp areas and decrease the humidity to less than 50% to lessen both the dust mites and the mold.
Dr. Joni, let's talk about pets. And are pets really the cause of a lot of allergic symptoms? How can true pet lovers deal with this? What can they do?
Well, as with any allergy, this is genetically determined. No? First, you have the predisposition nasa genes natin. A lot of times, no, I'd say 75% of the time. Now, ibig sabihin, may tendency ka na, so baka hindi mo maiwasan yon dahil meron yung nanay at tatay mo no, na ipasa sa'yo. So, however, may mga studies rin naman that show that there are some parang tendencies na baka less ang expression ng allergy na yon kapag na-expose ka early in life. Now, if you have an allergy, established allergy already, so ang key pa rin natin is to prevent exposure. So, kung talagang hindi mo mailalayo or hindi mo pamimigay yung pet dog or cat, siguro at the very least, nasa iba silang room or outdoors kung pwede ang sitwasyon. No?
Now this time of year, allergic rhinitis is so common. When we return, we'll talk about how to treat allergic rhinitis. Your health is our mission. This is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. There are several ways to treat allergic rhinitis, and these include trigger avoidance, even medication, as well as even home remedies. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines, where your care always comes first. Treatment for allergic rhinitis depends on how severe your symptoms are and how much they're affecting your day-to-day activities. Dr. Mari, what are some of the more common medications available to treat or control allergic rhinitis?
From vitamins, supplements, to the over-the-counter anti-allergy medications, or what we know as the antihistamines. The decongestant, usually what you take for flu, which can help you also if you're very congested. But, I have nothing against this if you want to try it once in a while for your allergic rhinitis. But if you find that you're using it all the time, then maybe this is not the right medication for you. There are other medications that your doctor can give if you have symptoms all the time. It's not good to take these over-the-counter medications every day for a month, 2 months, a year. So you have to see your doctor already.
Now, Dr. Joni, when it comes to treatment, is it okay to try over-the-counter medications to control my allergic rhinitis? If my friend or my neighbor takes this medication for their allergic rhinitis, it may work for me as well. What's your advice on this?
Depends on what it is, no? Kasi when we say over-the-counter, honestly, the antihistamines I think they should be prescribed with a prescription, but here, alam naman natin it's not so strict. So basically, it can be over the counter. So the pure antihistamines, the ones that don't make you fall asleep, they're part of the treatment of our allergic rhinitis. Now, it will depend on the severity, no? Ano ba ang effect sa'yo ng rhinitis mo? Is it really super bad? Then you have to go and talk to your doctor because the doctor can prescribe more than the antihistamines. So, meron tayong mga sprays para sa nose. For long term, hindi na yan ang ginagamit natin. Meron na tayong mga nasal steroid. And these are the most efficacious treatment for mga ganong klaseng rhinitis na talagang mahirap, matagal na.
Now let's talk about home remedies. Now home remedies may be effective up to a certain extent, and it all depends on how severe your allergies can be. Now we'll start first with Dr. Mari. What are some home remedies that our viewers can try if they do have allergic rhinitis symptoms?
One home remedy that you can try is washing the nose. Okay, but just remember there is a specific kind of fluid that you need to wash the nose that will not irritate or even damage your nose. So a home remedy is 1 liter of purified or distilled water, pwede rin pre-boiled tap, but not straight from the tap. And then 2 teaspoonfuls of non-iodized salt. So remember, it has to be non-iodized. Hindi pwede yung regular table salt. And then with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and then you have to use it within 24 hours. You cannot use it for longer than that because then there will be already bacterial growth there. Okay, and that is something that you can do, a home remedy to clean your nose and to relieve the congestion.
Now, Dr. Joni, any tips or home remedies, home solutions that you could suggest for our viewers?
You must keep your home relatively, if you can, not dust mite free. We can never do that, but less dust mites in the area. So, like she mentioned, the washing in hot water of your beddings, no, and maybe you ought to not put carpets anymore, kasi they will be dust gatherers, no. So, don't give it a chance to settle anywhere.
We hope you found our discussion today helpful. Thank you very much to ENT Head and Neck Surgeon Dr. Maria Lourdes Inicilia and allergist Dr. Fatima Joanna Santos Ocampo. We want to be your partner for a lifetime of good health. I'm Dr.
Libre kong San Miguel beer, basta akin ang Tansan.
Tansan? Sa San Miguel Oktoberfest Instant GCash Panalo Promo, uulan ng up to 100 million pesos in GCash prizes. Buy any San Miguel beer, hanapin ang code sa crown. Kung meron, panalo ka! Iscan ang QR code sa mga posters at Facebook. I-type ang code and win! Sali na! Available in areas where allowed. See posters for full details. Promo runs from September 1 to December 31, 2021. Per DOH FDA CFR permit number 0424 series of 2021. Drink responsibly.
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines, a first on radio. To bring you the latest news you can use, news you can trust. Listen to Newsnight, weekdays, 6 p.m.
We now go above and beyond the headlines.
Followed by Med Talk, Health Talk.
We'll talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during the pandemic.
Politics as usual.
Our guests for tonight, 2 political science professors.
Up close and more. Catch CNN Philippines in all RPN AM radio stations. Weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. CNN Philippines Hour.
Ang trusted dog food ni Catherine Bernardo, Nutri-Chunks na!
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat and essential nutrients that help keep them healthy and happy. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Loren Legarda po. 18 years akong senador at nagsulong ng mga batas na nakakatulong sa mga nangangailangan.
Free college education law.
Para sa aming edukasyon.
MSME law.
Batas para sa aming kabuhayan.
Climate Change Act.
Mga batas para sa kalikasan at climate change. Mga batas na ginawa ko na napapakinabangan ngayon. Sana makatulong pa ako sa mas marami.
Loren Legarda.
This is a baited verdict.
Ringo Honasan po. Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Pandemya man, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran. Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Ringo Honasan po. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
At starter number 11, the Kaiju, Kai Soto.
Kai Soto, bagong basketball star. Sa sipag at tiyaga at sa tulong ng sustansya rap ng Star Margarine, mas abot ni Kai ang pangarap niya.
Kai goes for the shot. Slam dunk!
Puno ng power nutrients na tulong pampatangkad, pampasigla at pampalakas, kasabay ng proper diet at exercise.
Sa Star Margarine, mas abot ko ang pangarap ko.
CNN Philippines Hour sa RPN-DZKI-IRIGA alas 6 hasta las 7 ng manggi, Lunes hanggang Biyernes. CNN Philippines Hour.